Laibach in North Korea. I think this was the most fascinating cultural and ideological political event of till now of the 21st century. Why? It was an impossible encounter of two totally different worlds, which are nonetheless at some deeper level not similar but echoing each other. Why? First, North Korea. Usually when people try to understand the oppressive regime there, they claim North Korea is an extremely Confucian country with paternal hierarchy, authority. No, it's not. A detailed analysis shows you immediately that North Korea is a weird matriarchal country. That is to say, their big leaders, now the situation is changing a little bit, but the first big two, Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, they played a maternal role. There are wonderful details. Just read closely and look at it, North Korean propaganda. For example, in all their official photos, you see the bellies. They are a little bit overweight. They are caring mothers. This is why, for example, again, if you read official propaganda, North Korean propaganda, party is not called the stern father, it's the caring mother. One of the most obscene political songs is one of the most popular North Korean official songs, which goes like this: people cannot survive without contact with North Korean Workers' Party, their caring mother. Sucking eternally the breasts of their mother is what keeps the people alive, and so on. And that's a wonderful lesson also to some naive feminists of how the true totalitarian regime is maternal in its structure. It's not a severe paternal, disciplined body, but it's a caring mother who can be, of course, extremely brutal, but nonetheless, it's a caring mother. The second thing which I find fascinating about North Korea is that in a transition from real socialism to whatever they are now, it's, as far as I know, the first post-communist, communist, whatever you call it, regime which directly rehabilitated religion, not quite openly, but half openly. For example, with Mao, Stalin, they were celebrated, idolized, but still no supernatural properties were attributed to them. While in North Korea, they are talking more or less in the terms of miracles. Like when Kim Jong-il died, the idea was even the birds descended down to mourn his death, and so on and so on. And also it's directly a regime of royal succession, son follows father, and so on and so on. It's something quite unique. But I think that as such, North Korea is not simply a remainder of some past. Such, let's call it maternal totalitarian regime, is something ultra-modern, even post-modern. It's one of the specific versions or attempts to deal with the deadlock of today's post-patriarchal, permissive, whatever we call them, global capitalist society. You can understand North Korea only in reaction to South Korea or in reaction to today's global capitalism. So where does Laibach enter here? Quite often, libertarian leftists were embarrassed by Laibach. On the one hand, of course, they had to support Laibach, but they were very uneasy about how to take Laibach. Like their primordial fear, which is for me the first sign that they didn't understand anything about Laibach, was to claim that Laibach is a great ironic spectacle of subtly mocking, making fun of authority and so on. But then, almost always, in my experience, I experienced this with my leftist friends, they added a worry. But what if people will not get it properly? What if people will take Laibach too seriously and perceive, or rather misperceive, what is their ironic spectacle as real celebration of totalitarianism. No, I think things are much more complex here. Laibach is not simply making fun of totalitarianism. Laibach is bringing out, let's call it the authoritarian feature, which is present in all societies, even in the most democratic societies. Because let's take a liberal society where officially the power legitimizes itself in a pure contractual terms. A democratic power says, our power is limited, we have to remain within the constraints of the law, we are simply, political power, people hired by voters to do a certain job. And that's our limit. Even if the power legitimizes itself in these terms, there is always, in a subtle way, between the lines, another message, which is, but basically, we can do whatever we want. We are fully sovereign. Our power is limitless. So, again, this tension is irreducible to political power. And I don't think we can simply get rid of it. I think that Laibach is deeply aware, Laibach as musical institution, they're deeply aware of this deep ambiguity of even the most democratic power. And they are trying to bring this authoritarian streak out, even with a certain open fascination. There is no distance there. They are not making fun of it. They openly enjoy it. So that's the traumatic message of Laibach. Staging the real of power. And so when they visited North Korea, it is as if what they were bringing out in the West, this authoritarian core of every power, they encountered it there openly. You know, usual left liberal critics or public of Laibach, they read Laibach along the lines of this standard humanist gap, searching behind the strict totalitarian mask of Laibach for warm human persons. They want to find behind the mask of all this Laibach low bass industrial totalitarian music, they want this guarantee that don't be afraid. Behind this mask, they are just ordinary, warm people like ourselves. No, the message of Laibach is exactly the opposite one. It's not, don't be afraid, beneath, our totalitarian mask, we are warm, normal, compassionate people like you. No, it's, even if we look in our everyday life in the West, like normal, compassionate people, you know, all the disgusting spectacles that we are doing in the West, charity, helping others, and so on. No. What is behind them? We are really what we play to be. We are monsters. There is no humanity behind. So, you see, it's not about North Korea. You will not learn a lot from Laibach about North Korea. You will learn a lot about our own anxieties and hypocrisies.